On May 25, 2025, the world said goodbye to Phil Robertson, the outspoken patriarch of Duck Dynasty and founder of the Duck Commander Empire. The tributes poured in, a man of faith, family, freedom, and firepower. But behind the scenes, while fans mourned and flags flew at half-mast, federal agents were quietly preparing for something else, something hidden, something buried. Just days after his passing, the FBI executed a sealed review of Robertson's estate in Louisiana. What began as a routine inspection of property and land use records turned into one of the most baffling posthumous discoveries in recent memory. Beneath the lush grounds of his multi-million-dollar estate, a concealed tunnel was uncovered. What lay inside wasn't just shocking, it was biblical. It started with a strange tip, something buried beneath the soil of Phil Robertson's estate. Agents arrived discreetly, posing as surveyors. But within hours, neighbors spotted heavy equipment, infrared scanners, and reinforced drones mapping the wooded property. By sunset, the truth emerged. Behind an old shed, beneath what appeared to be discarded hunting gear and rusted panels, they found it, a sealed hatch. Underneath it, a spiral stairwell descending deep underground. The space was cold, silent, designed with reinforced walls, power sources, and ventilation. This wasn't a root cellar or fallout shelter, it was a vault. Inside, agents found rows of crates, sealed trunks, and coded logs, surveillance equipment, maps, handmade devices, and etched into the walls, strange phrases, some scripture, others seemingly prophetic. Whatever this was, it was years in the making, and it had been kept secret even from most of Phil's family. Beneath the floorboards of America's most famous duck call empire was a chamber that looked more like a doomsday archive. The crates were packed with gear labeled in Phil's handwriting: storm supply, eagle dust, arc protocol. Inside were modified hunting devices, some appearing more tactical than functional, books with annotated pages about government overreach, Second Amendment doctrine, and wilderness survival, journals filled with prayers and warnings like, "When Babylon falls, Eden hides beneath the flood." Most disturbing of all were the wall markings, symbols resembling crosses intertwined with serpents, Bible verses scorched into the wood, maps with zones marked red, silent, and judgment. This was more than storage, it was a strategy. To outsiders, Phil Robertson's estate was a fortress of southern charm. Acres of land, duck blinds, cabins, security cameras, and all the camouflage you could imagine. And it was the kind of place that felt untouched by time. Part hunting lodge, part homestead, part living shrine to American grit. But now, investigators are reevaluating that layout, not as a home, but as a compound. The sprawling property wasn't just scenic, it was strategic. Its location, nestled deep within the Louisiana woods and miles from any major surveillance infrastructure, made it a perfect location for something hidden. The estate's boundaries were marked not just by fences, but by dense natural barriers, swampland, thickets, and artificial berms. To the average visitor, it looked like rustic charm. To a trained eye, it looked like controlled access. Renovations from the 2010s now appear far more deliberate. Records show over $600,000 in underground plumbing, generators, and concrete pouring that never matched any of the structures above ground. Blueprints revealed dead zones for cell signals, areas where no data could come in or out. Backup water tanks were buried under storage sheds. Solar panels wired to circuits not listed on the estate's primary energy map. Even the estate's landscaping, manicured paths, specific tree plantings, oddly placed duck blinds, may have served a dual purpose. Satellite analysts believe they may have been markers for underground access points. There are now questions about whether Phil's property was just one node in a larger network. Neighbors are revisiting old memories, trucks arriving late at night, private contractors with no identifiable company logos, and entire weeks where access roads were blocked off with maintenance signs. One former worker claims to have been dismissed after asking too many questions about a delivery labeled Field Gear Civilian Red. Another recalls a time Phil told them plainly, "You don't need to know what keeps this place running. You just need to know it'll keep us alive." It wasn't paranoia, it was preparation, and with each new discovery beneath the soil, that truth becomes more undeniable. Why did Phil build this? The internet exploded with theories. Some believe Phil was convinced of an impending spiritual war, a collapse of society that would target Christian leaders. Others claim he was part of a private network of survivalists with interconnected bunkers throughout the South. Former Duck Commander staff hinted at secret meetings. Projects were canceled without warning. Certain storage areas were off limits. A few employees were reportedly asked to sign NDAs during Phil's final years. Others say the tunnel was simply insurance, a place to protect his writings, plans, and beliefs from being buried by the media or erased by history. As the FBI worked quietly under federal order, the Robertson family went dark. No new podcasts, no family statements, no interviews. For a family that once thrived in the public eye, sharing stories, hunting tales, and moments of faith with millions, this sudden disappearance was impossible to ignore. Whispers grew louder. Was the family shocked, or were they aware? Some speculate Phil left behind sealed letters, one for each son, instructing them on what to do should the vault ever be found. Others believe the family was blindsided, learning the truth alongside the world. Either theory raised uncomfortable questions. Close friends of the family shared that in the weeks before Phil's death, he had grown more withdrawn. He spent hours in solitude, writing, praying, and locking himself away in parts of the property rarely visited. One friend mentioned a chilling final comment from Phil. "The world thinks I'm done." But what comes next ain't meant for cameras. Rumors of a family rift, long denied, have also resurfaced. Some believe not everyone agreed with Phil's actions. While the legacy of Duck Commander united them publicly, privately, they may have faced battles of faith, privacy, and control. Now, with the discovery of the tunnel, the silence of the Robertson family isn't just grief, maybe a wall built out of fear, confusion, or guilt. Reporters demanded answers. The FBI gave none. When asked directly if Phil Robertson was under investigation before his death, agents refused to answer. They downplayed the raid as a routine property verification. But their methods, full hazmat suits, unmarked vehicles, digital sweepers, suggest something far more serious. This wasn't a zoning check. It looked like a classified operation. Officials offered cryptic lines about national interests, unregistered installations, and data integrity concerns. Those vague words only added to the chaos. Analysts, pundits, and believers started dissecting Phil's final sermons and writings for hidden meanings, suggesting maybe Phil had been warning us all along. Some online sleuths believe the FBI discovered something bigger than documents. There are theories about encrypted server logs, GPS-linked caches buried in other states, and possible foreign ties to rare survival gear manufacturers listed in Phil's journals. The silence from authorities has transformed what could have been a quiet ending into a national obsession. Even now, the FBI refuses to release official records of what was recovered. What are they hiding? And why won't they let the public know the full truth about what was found beneath Phil's land? Leaked descriptions from anonymous sources claim that inside the tunnel, agents found hard drives filled with encrypted files labeled Covenant Watch, dozens of tapes, many featuring recordings of Phil reading scripture and warning of storms to come, handwritten letters to unnamed senators, pastors, and gun rights activists. But that was just the beginning. In the deepest part of the chamber, investigators discovered a steel-locked cabinet labeled Awakening. Inside were topographical maps, schematics for remote shelters, and sealed vials containing unknown substances. Forensic experts are still trying to identify them. One internal memo described them only as preservative agents for long-term biological security. There was also a file labeled Last Testament, believed to be Phil's final manifesto. It reportedly outlines a vision for a post-collapse society complete with leadership structure, spiritual codes, and directives for who should be trusted. The document, according to sources, warns of a coming age of false peace and calls for faith leaders to arm not only the soul, but the body. Some investigators believe this document may have been intended for distribution. Others fear it could have triggered something far more dangerous had it been released during Phil's lifetime. For now, it remains sealed, but whispers of its contents are already spreading like wildfire. Phil Robertson always said he wasn't afraid of dying, but what if he wasn't preparing for death? He was preparing for what came after. His legacy was faith, family, firearms, but now a fourth F has emerged: fortification. He fortified his land, his thoughts, his warnings, buried them beneath the surface, waiting to be found when the time was right. Those close to Phil now admit that he spoke often of spiritual warfare and believed the modern world was walking blindly into its own destruction. He believed in prophecy, in preparation, and in the idea that true faith required action, not just prayer. In one private letter obtained by investigators, Phil wrote, "The sheep won't survive if the shepherd is unarmed. Prepare the pasture. Bury the truth deep enough that only the faithful will find it." It's the kind of statement that chills the spine, and it redefines everything we thought we knew about him. This wasn't the paranoia of a fading man, it was a mission. And now, that mission is public. Phil Robertson's death was supposed to mark the end of a powerful American voice. Instead, it unearthed something even louder, a mystery still echoing through the tunnels beneath his land. A mystery that grows darker with every unanswered question and deeper with every uncovered secret. The government won't speak, the family won't answer, but the truth, whatever it is, has already slipped through the cracks. Each day that passes brings new leaks, new rumors, and new fears. Social media is ablaze with theories. Underground forums are dissecting satellite imagery. People from all walks of life, hunters, pastors, conspiracy theorists, journalists, are all asking the same thing. What else did Phil Robertson leave behind? Phil didn't just build an empire, he constructed a warning, a legacy that transcends duck calls and TV episodes, a coded call to action buried beneath layers of scripture, concrete, and silence. It's now clear that Phil wasn't just a reality star or a preacher. He may have been a prophet, or a survivalist, or something no one was ready to admit until now. Multiple sources claim the government may be quietly monitoring other Robertson-linked properties. New footage has surfaced allegedly showing more sealed containers buried across the region. Some believe this isn't an isolated discovery, but the tip of something coordinated, protected, and ready. And now, the question haunting everyone is this: did Phil Robertson die warning us, or preparing us? Was the vault his last act of resistance, or the first domino in a much larger plan? Whatever the answer is, one thing's certain: the real storm hasn't even started yet. And when it does, we'll all remember who tried to prepare us first.